I love starter Pokemon, but when given the choice between a grass, fire, or water type, I almost never pick the water type starter, mainly because of how common good water types are in almost every game. So I wanted to give these water types a chance. So let's see if they can beat a hardcore nuzlocke of Pokémon Violet. I have to admit that out of the 3 Gen 9 starters, Quaxly is by far my least favourite. But that doesn't mean that Milo here isn't going to become absolutely broken. And while the first Nemona battle is super easy, the second one wasn't going to be as simple as spamming Water Gun. This is due to her terastallizing Pawmi, which hits poor little Milo for massive damage. So to avoid losing the run, I have to grind Milo up to level 13. This gets him 2 very important moves. First is Work Up, which we can spam on Fuecoco for +3 attack, and next is the move Aqua Jet, which ensures Milo outspeeds and one-shots Nemona's Pokemon. Milo is feeling a lot more confident in the battle against Katie, and since the Work Up strat worked so well last time, we might as well do it again. So Milo sets up the +3 attack against Katie's Nimble, as it's doing barely any damage with Struggle Bug. A +2 wing attack can then one-shot both Katie's Nimble and Tarantula, but her Teddiursa survives on like, I don't know, that has to be like 3 HP. Well, all I can do is pray that Milo's hair gel is thick enough to tank the incoming Terra boosted Fury Cutter. And it is! Milo survives on red HP and can finish the battle with a priority Aqua Jet, causing the first big splash in our Paldea Gym Challenge. You know what else is making a big splash? That's right, it's today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Fist Out, a brand new mobile card game that lets you create a 30 card deck out of nearly 300 unique subordinate cards, all with their own race and professions, so you can create the ultimate strategy to win any battle. But you'll need to pick a hero to lead your deck, and these heroes can be equipped with powerful weapons and treasures to ensure your victory. There are multiple ways to play Fist Out. You can challenge the campaign, with each level bringing different challenges that you'll need to edit your deck to overcome. Or you can test your deck against other players in the arena, or work together with them to battle world bosses and conquer dungeons. You can play Fist Out anytime and anywhere for free for both Android and iOS. So use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to get a starter gift pack worth $20 to get a head start. Thank you again to Fist Out for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to it. Thanks to the XP from the Katie fight, Milo evolves into Quaxwell, which might be the ugliest middle stage water starter. And with a new badge, I do get to pick one of these eggs, which all have a water type starter inside. Sadly though, I don't know what egg is what, so it's just going to be completely random. And my first egg hatched into Pamela, the Poplio, and I'll need to try my best to keep her alive, because she's going to be our only fairy type this run. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about the first Titan, as Cloth is a rock type and gets taken down by Pamela's Terra boosted Aqua Jets. Brassius, on the other hand, is an absolute monster, with his Ace Pseudo-Wudo sporting a nasty 100 base attack stat, plus Grass Terra Trailblazers. So hopefully this egg hatches into something useful. Oh no. Sadly, Mr. Baldwin here was not the answer I was looking for, as when he evolves into Marshtomp, he gains the ground typing, meaning he's 4 times weak to grass type attacks. So yeah, not the best answer to Brassius. Since my newest member was more than useless for this next fight, I had to go grab the OP move Acrobatics. With this new move, we at least have a chance to get through this battle. Luckily, Brassius' first Pokemon is extremely weak, so Milo can set up a workup before being put to sleep with Sleep Powder. But I came prepared, and Milo wakes up straight away thanks to his held Chesto Berry, and Acrobatics destroys it on the next turn, as Brassius then sends in his Smoliv. But it's just as weak, if not weaker than Petalil. So Milo gets another free Oko. This means Milo is at full HP and at +1 attack when Pseudo-Wudo enters the field. And Acrobatics does fantastic damage, but it isn't even close to getting the one-shot, so Milo has to eat a Terra boosted Trailblaze. But Milo, the absolute GOAT, lives the attack with yellow HP, which means it wasn't even close. And another acrobatics wins us the second gym badge, beating one of the hardest battles of the run. There was still one massive early game roadblock that we'd have to get through. But for now, Pamela evolves and we hatch another starter, this time hatching the OG water type, Bo Gregory the Squirtle. Also, there is a naming theme in this video, and I'll honestly be super impressed if anyone actually knows what it is, so I'll be heart reacting to any correct comment. Also, while you're down there, maybe hit that like button and subscribe, it would be super helpful and cool, thank you. Having another bulky team member is pretty reassuring, as the Sky Titan can be quite the hassle, especially when you can't heal between phases 1 and 2. So I had to be pretty careful as I lead the battle with Mr. Baldwin, who immediately gets chunked for just above half by the Titan's pluck. But Baldwin can retaliate with a rock throw that's looking like a 4 to 3 hit KO. I've also given him the leftovers, which heals him at the end of each turn. This combined with Protect is able to keep Baldwin safe as he slowly whittles down phase 1. And with Arvin's, help, phase 2 falls just as quickly, as both Baldwin and Knackley drop multiple stony payloads onto the oversized bin chicken. Which is kind of ironic because half the reason we're here is to stop it from dropping rocks, but we can just ignore that for now because we have a new team member, Chelsea the Oshawott, who evolves into my favorite second stage water starter, Do What. I mean, he's just so cool. And he's super useful against the first team star boss, Giacomo, one-shotting his lead Pawnyard with a 4x super effective Brick Break. His Starmobile does sadly have Intimidate, so Chelsea is forced to switch out, so I bring in Mr. Baldwin. He shakes off a Wicked Talk on the switch and gets his special defense lowered by Metal Sound before landing a super weak Rock Smash. I was really hoping for the defense drop there, but I guess it's only a 100% drop rate when used against me. Due to his lowered special defense, I do need to switch. So I bring in Pamela, who hits a pathetically weak Icy Wind in the hopes that the speed drop will do, anything. She can only land the one Icy Wind before tagging in Bo Gregory, who again can only land a single Tail Whip before being forced to switch out because of Metal Sound. But now I get to send in our ace, Milo. However, it yet again uses Metal Sound and connects, so after landing a hefty low sweep, we come full circle, bringing in our original lead, Chelsea. A combo of Snarl and Wicked Talk does leave Chelsea low, but his Brick Break brings the Starmobile in range of Milo's low sweep. Well, almost anyway, it leaves it with red HP, but Milo can snipe it with a cheeky Aqua Jet, and with the combined efforts of all of my starters, we're able to beat the first team star boss with 0 deaths. And as a reward, we get to add Nibbles the Totodile to our beautiful family. I'm now face to face with maybe the hardest battle in the game for my water starters. The only one that stands a chance is Mr. Baldwin. At the start of the run, his ground typing was a liability, but now it's all we've got to answer Iono's powerful electric types. But as he is now, he has 0 good ground type moves. So I head over to the Asalto Desert, where I can get the TM for Earthquake, and I can also pick up the TM for Amnesia. I'm really hoping this will be enough, but we'll just have to wait and see. Before Iono, Nemona does force us to battle her, but this was a good chance to test out Baldwin's new moves, as Pamela takes the first KO onto a Rock Ruff, which brings in Pawmi, so I switch into Baldwin, who is immune to the incoming electric type attack. Since he is immune, all Pawmi can do is use Dig, but Earthquake not only hits Pokemon when they're underground, but also does double damage. So yeah, that Pawmi is proper dead. There's no other way to say it. This leaves Nemona with her Crocolaw, but it quickly falls to a couple of EQs. Let's just hope Iono is as easy as that was. Okay, I've stalled long enough. Let's finally challenge Iono. And this might seem weird, but I actually lead the battle with Pamela, and this is to abuse the move Baby Doll Eyes, a priority fairy type move that lowers the target's attack by 1 stage. And Pam can land 4 before having to switch into Baldwin, who now only takes 6 damage from Rotrul's plucks. This allows him to safely set up Amnesia while healing with Protect plus leftovers to stay full HP. And once he's finished setting up to max special defense, he can take down Wattrel with 2 water pulses. Iono's Luxio is pretty annoying thanks to its ability Intimidate, lowering Baldwin's attack, but Earthquake still gets the Oko. Her third Pokemon Bellibolt is a lot tankier and can survive an Earthquake, but its Water Gun is doing pathetic damage, so Baldwin is free to finish it off with a second attack, leaving Iono with her Ace Mismagius. This Pokemon was the sole reason I had to set up to +6 special defense, but a random crit could put an end to the whole run. And with Confuse Ray as well, we were still going to need a lot of luck. That's not a good sign. Hex still does barely any damage, but Baldwin isn't breaking any records either, so Mismagius has a lot of chances to crit. And Baldwin keeps hitting himself. Please, buddy, you need to lock in. He must have heard my cries because he doesn't hit himself again and he doesn't get crit, so a few more water pulses can finish the battle. My water starters just beat the electric type gym with 0 deaths, and it was all thanks to Mr. Baldwin. With the victory against Iono, we can hatch another starter, and this is one of the best for Scarlet and Violet in my opinion, as we hatch Froakie, who has the hidden ability Protean, and the Greninja line has insane coverage, which is easy to abuse with Scarlet and Violet's open world. So Molly is a very welcomed addition to the team, and she makes her first appearance in the battle against Mela. And this is just a free win as Molly sets up a rain dance and surfs away her whole team. Even the next battle against Orthworm is as easy as Milo just spams low sweep until it eventually faints. So while that plays in the background, I just wanted to quickly ask you all a quick question. Who is your favorite water type starter? I think out of all of them, actually don't know. Mine might be Totodile or maybe Piplup. I don't know, again, I'm not the biggest water type starter guy, so it's kind of hard for me to answer this question. I'm gonna lock in Totodile. Yeah, probably Totodile. But let me know yours down in the comments. The last 2 battles have been super easy, but there's no way we get 3 free battles in a row. Is there? Well, with Nibbles now fully evolved into the powerful Feraligatr, this definitely wasn't looking difficult. So I of course lead with Nibbles in the battle against Kofu, who can set up to max attack with Sword Stance, and from here it's as simple as watching my Nibbles run over Kofu's team. Did you guys know that crocodiles can actually run on land? It's pretty cool, and that's basically what Kofu saw before being killed. Okay, the fun and games are over because it's my least favorite battle in all of Pokemon. Yeah, it's that time of the video. We have to challenge Atticus. At least I get to add B the Piplup and Oscar the Sobble to the team, which gives me good options for the upcoming battle. Now I seriously didn't have a plan for this battle before starting this run, but I think I can actually cheese it pretty hard with Molly's Protean ability. So I lead the battle with Molly, who becomes the poison type by using Toxic Spikes. And since they nerfed Protean in Gen 9, she doesn't change typing when she uses Sword Stance, so she stays a poison type for the rest of the battle, which baits Skuntank into spamming Sucker Punch, allowing Molly to freely set up with Sword Stance. And once at max attack, she can use Dig to one-shot Atticus's whole team, and thanks to her insane speed stat, she's actually at full HP when the Starmobile enters the field. But things get really awkward because with Dig you can usually dodge one attack while underground, but the Starmobile is constantly changing its speed tier with spinouts and flame charges, so it's hitting Molly twice while she's only hitting once. She is able to bring it to red HP, but is brought down to just 4 HP that same turn. But in the end, all we have to do is switch into Milo, and a priority Aqua Jet can finish off the Starmobile. I've become quite the professional at cheesing this god-awful fight. With Atticus defeated, the level cap is now 36, so I can evolve all of my starters. But for Chelsea, I decided to send him over to Legends Arceus to evolve him into his Hisuian form, gaining the Dark typing. And it just looks Way cooler than regular Samurott, in my opinion. Well, with 9 fully evolved starters, this was going to be one of the easiest mid-games of my career. The first victim of this brutal run was of course Larry, who leads with Kamola, and I lead with Chelsea, who is so close to one-shotting with a Brick Break. But it just retaliates with a Yawn, so a second Brick Break gets the KO, and a Chesto Berry wakes Chelsea up from her nap. Larry then sends in his Dunsparce, but Brick Break, once again, fails to Oko, and it lands a Glare to paralyze Chelsea, which not only makes her slower, forcing her to tank a Hyper Drill, but she also gets fully paralyzed, so she's unable to attack. I should have just switched out Chelsea here, but I was confident he wouldn't get crit, and he survives with just 2 HP. Definitely wasn't worth the risk, but he's able to move next turn to get the KO with another Brick Break, leaving Larry with his Ace Staraptor, and I have the perfect counter, be the Empoleon, who resists all of Staraptor's moves, letting him freely lower its attack stat to -6 with a few charms, before sending in Milo, who can safely finish it off with 2 low sweeps. And Mr. Baldwin just sweeps Nemona's whole team once again. Easy peasy. We're now quickly facing the 6th gym leader who uses ghost types, but unfortunately for her, I just acquired 2 powerful dark types who both get to be on the field at the same time, thanks to this being a double battle. Turn 1, Molly can break Mimikyu's disguise and Chelsea one-shots Bayonet with Ceaseless Edge, which sets up for a double KO on turn 2 with double Night Slashes, quickly leaving Rhyme with her Ace Toxtricity, which does have an electric type move, but it doesn't get the chance to use it as Molly's Night Slash gets the final Oko of the match. And that was maybe the most brutal Rhyme battle I've ever had. And well, the next Titan is a Steel Ground type, making it another easy matchup for my water starters, as Milo just spams Aqua Steps to victory, leading us to the 7th gym leader, Tulip, who also suffers from us having 2 dark types. I of course lead with Chelsea, who can one-shot Tulip's Leaf Farigarath with Ceaseless Edge, which also sets up a layer of spikes, which I thought would be enough for Chelsea to finish it off with another Ceaseless Edge. But it survives with red HP, and Dazzling Gleam brings Chelsea to just 10 HP. But we outspeed, so one more Ceaseless Edge finishes it off, and Chelsea's low HP baits Espathra to use Quick Attack, giving Molly a free switch, and a Night Slash easily Okos on the next turn. And thanks to the damage from spikes, I'm pretty confident that Night Slash can KO, but I do Terror to a pure water type just in case Florges survives. And thank God I did, because it does in fact live with red HP and a neutral Moonblast does insane damage. So a super effective one would have been the death of Molly. I then thought Water Shuriken would easily finish it off, but that was a huge risk because it had to at least hit 3 times. But you know, never punished. We have been powering through this mid-game and we're now at the final gym leader, Grusha, who uses ice types. So I of course lead with Milo, who is close to one-shotting Frostmoth with an Aqua Step, and I thought it would set up Tailwind, but it instead uses Blizzard, which hits surprisingly hard. But Milo can finish it off with another Aqua Step. His Beartic is out next, but it survives a low sweep with red HP, yet again, and can retaliate with a nasty Earthquake, chunking poor Milo. But he can safely finish it off next turn with another low sweep. So Titan is 3rd and survives the low sweep, but Milo at least resists all of its moves, so another low sweep can safely finish it off on the next turn. Grusha is now down to his final Pokemon, his Altaria. But Milo is on red HP and he needs to switch out. So I decided to bring in Bo Gregory. And even with him dodging a Hurricane, he isn't able to win the 1v1 as his 3rd Flash Cannon leaves it low. And he does outspeed, but Altaria's 3rd Hurricane ends up confusing my poor Turtle. And with just 4 HP, it's best to play it safe. And I send in Oscar, and a cheeky Sucker Punch wins us the 8th and final gym badge. Even with all 8 badges, we still aren't ready to take on the Elite Four, as we have a few loose ends to clean up. First of which is the false dragon Dondozo, who ignores B's turn 1 charm with a nasty critical hit Aqua Tail. But it surely won't get that lucky again. So I keep B on the field and 2 more charms bring it to -6 attack, allowing Pamela to safely come in and spam multiple hyper voices to complete phase 1. I then use the same strategy for phase 2, but Dondozo is never the real problem because there is a third phase to this Titan fight, the Tatsugiri phase. But being a water fairy type means Pamela either resists or is immune to the Tatsu's attacks, and so Moonblast can easily and safely defeat the final Titan. Which brings me to the final Team Star boss, Eri. But she is another easy fight to cheese with Molly's Protean, since she can turn herself into a ghost type by using Shadow Sneak, making her immune to Brick Break, but super effective to Sucker Punch, which baits Toxicroak into spamming it, allowing Molly to freely set up to max attack using Sword Stance. A Shadow Sneak is then enough to finish it off, but Lucario is able to survive an Aerial Ace with red HP, and the Dark Pulse in retaliation hits like a truck. But Molly hangs on and cleans up the KO with a Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak then OHKOs Eri's scariest Pokemon thanks to its ghost typing, and her Barsimian is OHKO'd by an Aerial Ace, leaving Eri with her Starmobile. Molly is too low and is at risk of getting crit, so I send in Pamela, and she does crazy damage with just a plain old Moonblast, and can KO in 2 attacks, defeating the final Team Star boss. Wait, did I battle Ortega? Oh man, I forgot about Ortega. Well, with Molly being a teensy tiny bit overleveled, her expert belt boosted gunk shots just one-shot his whole team. Other than his Starmobile, it dies in 2. Now this fight would have been the same story either way, other than probably the Starmobile, but we still have Empoleon, so it was an easy win no matter what. And now we can challenge the Elite Four. So far this has been a clean run with 0 deaths, but I'd say my only skill in life is losing Pokemon in this Elite Four, and today is no different. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's focus on the battle against Rika. She leads the battle with Whiscash, and I lead with Milo, who can take down my pseudo mascot with 2 Aqua Steps while it sets up a future sight. Rika quickly sends in her most annoying Pokemon, her Donphan, who can't get one shot due to its sturdy ability. So even with a critical hit, it lives on 1 HP and retaliates with a nasty Earthquake, which is then followed up by the future sight that Whiscash set up on turn 1. Thankfully, no one else on Rika's team has sturdy, so Milo can one-shot her Dugtrio and Camerupt, and while her Clodsire doesn't have sturdy, it does have Water Absorb, meaning we need to switch out Milo. And the only one on my team with an Ice type move is Molly, but she's really squishy, so I didn't want her eating a Terra boosted Earthquake. So I switch into Pamela as Clodsire uses Protect. Pamela then forces it to continue using Protect with her Encore, allowing me to freely switch in B. He harshly lowers Clodsire's attack stat with a Charm, and with one more Charm on the next turn, the only way another Earthquake is killing B is with a critical hit. Of course. This is really bad, as B was my second counter to so many Pokemon in the upcoming battles, and losing our only Steel type is a hole that we'll never fill. I'll miss you, B. At least her sacrifice allows Molly to enter the field for free and can win the battle with 2 Ice Beams. Now I wanted this Elite Four to be just a bit harder than usual, so I won't be allowing myself to replace B until I beat the champion. So I'm coming into the battle against Poppy with only 5 Pokemon, and Poppy was the only member I didn't have a solid plan for. So I just led with Chelsea, who can one-shot Poppy's lead Cop Raja with a sharpness boosted Sacred Sword. This baits in her Magnezone, but Baldwin's ground typing is a direct counter, and a combo of Earthquake and Liquidation easily takes down one of Poppy's scarier Pokemon. Her Corviknight, however, isn't as easy to deal with due to its flying typing. This makes it immune to ground type attacks, and means it only takes neutral damage from fighting type attacks. Baldwin tries to scout out its next move with a Protect, but it just sets up a iron defense. I thought maybe a liquidation could do some decent damage, but Corviknight outspeeds Baldwin and sets up to +4 defense, so liquidation does barely anything. I need to hit this Iron Bird with some special attacks, so I send in Pamela into an incoming body press, which does some insane damage. But without a crit, it isn't enough to kill Pam, and she's able to wash away the bulky bird with 2 sparkling arias. Poppy's Bronzon is honestly just Chelsea food, as he comes in and OHKOs with a ceaseless edge. And thanks to a very lucky crit, Sacred Sword is able to one-shot Poppy's ace, and we've won the second battle. And thankfully, I didn't fumble anyone's lives this time. Between me and you, I couldn't possibly mess up the battle against Larry. All I had to do was slap Molly with an expert belt and press the ice beam button, one-shotting his whole team. And well, the hassle fight was more or less the same story, as Molly one-shots his first 4 Pokemon, and his Baxcalibur is countered by Pamela's fairy typing, so she comes in on a Glaive Rush and claims the final KO with a Moonblast, leading us to the champion battle. Geeta is probably the easiest champion in the whole franchise, but again, I am the king of throwing. Thankfully, Chelsea is a beast and can one-shot Geeta's leader Sparta with a priority Sucker Punch, bringing in Geeta's grass-type Go-Goat. And it feels really weird to say this, but this might be her scariest Pokemon. Thankfully, Chelsea can KO it with 2 ceaseless edges, which also sets up 2 layers of spikes. Sadly though, her third Pokemon Avalugg is a bit too tanky to one-shot, and Chelsea is too low to tank an attack. So I switch into Pamela, who barely fails the OHKO the Hunking Ice Table. A second Sparkling Aria can finish it off, and with a +1 in special attack thanks to a held Throat Spray, I thought Pamela could one-shot her King Gambit. Sadly, Pam's more kind than killer, and King Gambit lives on red HP and doesn't repay Pam's kindness, killing her with an Iron Head. Pamela was a key member of the team, and losing her to such a stupid play is honestly heartbreaking. But I can't sit around beating myself up. I need to get champion rank, but not only Pamela, but for B as well. With its low HP, Chelsea can finish off the murdering Taulet with a Sucker Punch, and her Veluza's psychic typing makes it another victim to Chelsea's quick punches. Geeta is now down to her final Pokemon, but her ace gets hard countered by Mr. Baldwin. He resists 3 of its 4 moves, and only takes weak neutral damage from Earth Power, and a single Earthquake OHKOs Geeta's final Pokemon, earning us the champion rank. Just because we've become champions doesn't mean the run's over, as we still have to battle our friends before entering Area 0. And the first battle is against Clavel, and it was looking like a really easy battle, as Chelsea one-shots Oranguru with a ceaseless edge. Sacred Sword sadly leaves Abomasnow on legit 1 HP, allowing it to set up an Aurora Veil, boosting his team's physical and special defense. This doesn't stop Chelsea from one-shotting his Houndoom with a Sacred Sword, but Chelsea wasn't going to be one-shotting his Gyarados. And with the Veil up, no one on my team was going to have a fun time, so I send in Bo Gregory to stall out the remaining turns. And he hits a Hail Mary Confusion with Water Pulse, as I switch into Molly, who could slowly but surely take down Gyarados with 3 Dark Pulses. His Poltegeist is 5th, but Dark Pulse easily one-shots that silly cup, leaving Clavel with his ace Meowscarada. But with the Expert Belt, I thought an Ice Beam from Molly could easily one-shot it, but it lives with red HP and kills Molly with a Play Rough. Oh man. Without Molly, there's just no way we would have made it this far, and losing her so close to the final battle really hurts, as I wanted her to be with us to the end. Goodbye, Molly. Rest well. Thankfully, she left Meowscarada low enough for Chelsea to come out and finish the battle with a Sucker Punch. The rest of the battles were super easy, as Milo sweeps not only Arven and Penny, but even Nimona, sparing us from any more losses. However, the final battle of the run was a different story, as I forgot to level up half the team to the level cap, putting me at a pretty big disadvantage against AI Toro, and it was going to cost me potentially everything. I lead the final battle with quite possibly my most reliable starter, Mr. Baldwin, who has a great matchup against Tauro's Iron Moth, as Earthquake is 4 times super effective, getting the clean one-hit KO. He then weirdly sends in Iron Thorns, another Pokemon that's 4 times weak to Earthquake, so Baldwin claims another future life. Here is where the trouble begins as Iron Bundle descends onto the field. I have no clear counters for this bundle of death, and normally an ice type wouldn't be able to hit my water types, but it has the move Freeze Dry, an ice type move that's actually super effective against water types. But I forgot it had this move, and I've only ever seen it use Snowscape on turn 1, so I sent in Chelsea, and she is instantly brought down to red HP. Iron Bundle is a super fast Pokemon, so I don't think Chelsea can outspeed. So the best she can do is use Sucker Punch, which doesn't even half-shot it before another Freeze Dry connects, killing poor Chelsea. This is where having half the team at level 58 is really going to cost me, because Nibbles is gapped by almost 10 levels. Not that it ends up mattering, as Freeze Dry gets a critical hit, instantly killing my poor Crocodile. I send in Bo Gregory next, and he's able to survive a Freeze Dry with just 32 HP before landing a weak Blast Cannon, and then he gets finished off with another Freeze Dry. Okay, Oscar has Sucker Punch, so maybe he could finish Iron Bundle off? Well, that's a no, and now Oscar's dead as well. Well, Milo is our last chance to finish off Iron Bundle, as Baldwin is way too low. Milo does get outsped and hit by a Freeze Dry, but he lives with just 25 HP. And after losing 2/3 of my team, we do finally take down Iron Bundle with an Aqua Step. I doubt Milo could survive a fake out from Iron Hands, so I switch into Baldwin, whose Rocky Helmet does about the same amount of damage in return. Iron Hands is a bulky monster however, and survives an Earthquake with red HP before killing Baldwin with a Drain Punch. I'm down to my final Pokemon, and Tauro still has half of his team left, and so it's up to Milo to clutch out, or we just lose the run. Iron Hands is easily dealt with as it's still low from its tussle with Baldwin, so Aqua Step can finish it off. His full HP Iron Jugulis is pretty scary, but right now Milo's Aqua Step is triple boosted with a combo of Terra, Mystic Water, and Milo's Tauren ability, so Aqua Step is able to one-shot Jugulis. But is it enough to one-shot his final Pokemon? It is! Milo, you beast! He's clutched out the final battle, which means I've beaten a hardcore nuzlocke of Pokémon Violet using only the water type starters. Thanks again to Fist Out for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and if you did, maybe check out my full starter only nuzlocke, or check out some of my shiny only nuzlocks on screen. Thank you all for watching, stay safe and be kind. See you next time.